This video is brought to you by Tube Amp Doctor. The first mod that most people do to their budget guitars is to swap the pickups out for something more expensive and better. And being the curious type, I wondered, what if I leave the original pickups in and swap out the rest of the electronics instead? That means new pots, a new switch, a new output jack, and all the cables inside. Will it make a difference? To the feel, definitely. To the sound quality? I don't know. To the reliability? Probably. So I got this wiring kit from Tube Amp Doctor that includes everything I need to do the mods that I want to do. And Tube Amp Doctor have graciously sponsored this video so we can do a little bit of science. And when I say science, I mean messing around with guitars and bits and seeing what happens. So in this video, I'm going to record a bunch of sound samples with the original guitar in its stock condition, and then switch this out and record some more samples, and then we'll compare them. Let's crack open this JET JJ350 and see what's inside. Before I change this out, let's have a look at what's going on in the stock condition of the wiring. Starting with the switch, it's one of those block switches, which I would say most budget guitars that have a three-way switch come with. It says made in Korea and JA on the side, but I'm not sure it actually is made in Korea. Then we'll go up to the volume pot, which just says CF on it. So there's no value written on it that I can see. Maybe it's on the other side. We'll find out when I take it out. And then we've got the tone pot, which is just covered in solder and doesn't have a value written on it. Then a bog standard capacitor, which works and has no values written on it whatsoever. And at the end, we've got this output jack, which again, works fine. Just the sort of standard one you'd find in a budget guitar. Interestingly, the pickups are just those normal ones you find on budget pickup places with B for bridge and N for neck written on them. So there's no name or anything, but I think they're actually 4-cable because you can see the cables here are red and yellow, but over here, that's blue and black on the switch. But under there, there's a red and a green, which normally indicates 4-wire. So if I were to open that up, I bet that would be coil splittable. But that's not what we're doing in this video, because we just want to change the wiring loom. First job is to get the old wiring loom out of there, and I did that by putting a bit of new solder onto the old solder, which helped it melt a little quicker. Now that I've got the old stuff out of the guitar, and I can confirm that both pots are 500Ks, A500Ks, before I put in the new ones, which are also A500K, let's compare the two. The old ones are clearly smaller than the new ones, and they feel quite stiff and uninviting and nothing special. The new ones, they feel smoother, but with just a little bit of resistance that you need. And frankly, they look and feel more expensive and more quality, and they certainly are more expensive. The next thing to switch would be the switch. There's the old one, there's the new one. And the old one feels perfectly fine until I use the new one, and that one just fills me with more confidence. There's a more definite switching there, but there's still this nice responsive click. Whereas the old one, there's a bit of play in it, and it feels a bit springy and spongy by comparison. The next part to change out is quite shocking in difference. There's the old capacitor, and there's the new jumbo one, this bumblebee thing. The jury is still out as to whether these actually make a difference, but that certainly looks cool, and apparently will keep its value for longer than this one, so we're talking reliability again. Then we're onto the output jack. Here's the old one, which again is perfectly fine. There's not much wrong with it at all. There's nothing wrong with it. But then we have this, the Switchcraft, which all over seems a better quality. If I just put them side by side, it's also slightly bigger, and you can see that there's going to be more contact with the plug. And then finally, we've got the wiring. There's the old cable wire stuff, and here's the new. Nothing wrong with this. Plenty of space and stuff for electrons and things to flow across. But this just feels more pro, and I feel like I'm going to get a better guitar with this. So let's find out. The new pots are a little bit bigger than the old ones, so I had to drill the holes out a little bit, but thankfully the output jack was the same. Tube Amp Doctor include wiring diagrams with all their kits, but this is a 2-volume, 2-tone kit, and I only have 1 volume, 1 tone, So I made sure to take some pictures of the wiring before I took it out. So I'm going to copy that so it's exactly as it was before. I'll talk more about the soldering experience at the end of the video and the review of the kit, but mainly the pots and the capacitor being bigger presented a little bit of a challenge. Right, time for the comparative sound samples. Did the new wiring loom make a difference? Let's find out. The amp will be the deluxe reverb from Fender through a 2x12 vintage V30 cab, and I've got some various pedals that you'll see on screen, but I'm going to do no talking in this part. I'm just going to go through each sample and there'll be some overlays on screen so you can see what's going on. Don't forget to wear headphones or at least listen in a quiet environment so you can really get the benefit of this comparison. Welcome back. You've probably got some opinions right now, and so have I, because I've just heard the sound samples as well. And frankly, I'm pretty shocked by the difference between the two different guitar setups, bearing in mind that the only thing that's changed is the wire, the switch, the pots, and the output jack, and I guess the solder as well, because everything else is exactly the same, which is super weird, because I think those sound samples were completely different to each other, more so in the clean, and when it was getting compressed by the distortion pedals, there was still more clarity in those samples and less woofiness. I'm not an expert in physics or anything like that, but I've played guitar for a long time and I've got ears, and I guess the capacitor must have something to do with it, or the quality of the wire is letting through more top. I have no idea. So less resistance in the wire. I didn't say that I was going to prove to you why this happens, but it does happen. There is a difference, and if you do know why there's a difference, then please chime in the comments section, because I'm quite shocked. Now, on to the actual playing style that changed. The new pots are smoother, as in there's almost no resistance, and I was worried they were going to slip as I was just sort of moving the guitar, but they don't. But I did kind of overshoot things a little bit because they're so easy to turn, and I'm used to really cranking these budget pots, and I quite like the budget pots for that because I'm quite heavy-handed. That they stay there once you get there, but you can do volume swells and all sorts of things on this, so I'm pretty impressed, and we'll have to relearn how to play this guitar. The same goes for the switch. I'm normally flipping it there and then giving a little eye to check that it didn't bounce back. There's no need to do that with this. The output jack, I haven't noticed much difference, if I'm honest, but oh no. Oh, there's a bit of grab there. There's quite a bit of grab. Oh, I don't remember how the first one was, but I'm pleased with that. There is kind of a big elephant in the room, because this guitar costs around 300 euros and the wiring loom is over 100 euros. It's almost half the price of the guitar. And I'm not saying you need to go out and change your wiring loom, but I just wanted to do an experiment and then show what a difference that makes instead of just changing pickups. And I thought it'd be fun. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you do want to get one of these wiring looms from Tube Amp Doctor, then I'll put a link in the video description and they'll be on your screen somewhere. There's a subscribe button if you want it. There's another video from me. Thank you to Tube Amp Doctor for sponsoring this and answering that question, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!